Arawak. Truth, forgotten people, colonial lies and ancestral spirit. Welcome home, seekers. Welcome back to our channel, Spiritual Meanings, the wellspring where we dive deep into the currents of life, the hidden histories of humanity, and the enduring resilience of the soul. If you're here, you're not just a viewer, you are a fellow voyager on a profound journey, the journey to uncover the deeper, often suppressed layers of truth. A growing family of light. We're on an exhilarating mission to reach 3,000 subscribers, and every single one of you who hits that subscribe button isn't just a number. You're an integral thread in the rich tapestry of this community. We are profoundly grateful to have you walking this path with us. Your comments, the powerful insights you share, and the personal stories you entrust us with transform this space from a simple video channel into a vibrant global family. We are a collective of truth seekers and light bearers, committed to uncovering wisdom and challenging forgotten narratives. Without your energy, your engagement, and your belief in this mission, none of this challenging, vital work would be possible. An invitation to weave wisdom. Today's subject, Arawak truth, forgotten people, colonial lies, and ancestral spirit, demands a communal exploration. It is a story of resilience, peace, and profound loss, the echoes of which still resonate across the Caribbean and South America. As you listen and absorb the deep history we're about to unpack, of the Lokono, the Taino, the Caciques, and the Zemi, I invite you now, at this very moment, to take a pause. Share your initial thoughts below. If you have Arawak or Taino ancestry, or a connection to this history, your voice is especially vital. Together, we don't just consume knowledge, we weave wisdom from many voices, honoring the spirit of those who came before us. This is more than a history lesson. It's an act of ancestral remembrance. Stay with us, because the truth of the Arawak people is a foundation stone of the Americas that deserves to be known. The footnote to the conquest. You are absolutely right. In the standard Western narrative, the Arawaks, particularly the Taino, the branch who inhabited the Greater Antilles like Hispaniola, Cuba, and Puerto Rico, and the Lokono of the South American mainland and smaller islands, are relegated to a mere footnote in the dramatic entrance of Christopher Columbus. This framing reduces them to a passive backdrop for the discovery of the New World. But to accept this is to ignore one of the most vibrant and sophisticated civilizations of the pre-Columbian Americas. Who were the Arawak Taino? The gentle civilization. We must pull them from the shadow of that footnote. Who were they truly? A matrilineal, hierarchical society. Far from being primitive, the Taino lived in well-structured chiefdoms, Catacasgos, led by hereditary chiefs called caciques. Their society was often matrilineal, meaning lineage and power, including the succession of the cacique, was often traced through the female line, indicating a profound respect for women in their social structure. Masters of sustainable agriculture. They were ingenious agriculturists. They cultivated staple crops like cassava, maize, and sweet potatoes using a revolutionary system called the conuco, a large fertile mound that prevented soil erosion and maximized crop diversity. This sustainable practice was a testament to their deep ecological knowledge and ability to feed millions. The world of the Zemi and the Cahoba, their spiritual world was rich and complex. They worshipped a pantheon of deities and ancestral spirits known as the Zemi, which represented the forces of nature, sun, rain, wind, and fertility. Spiritual ceremonies involved the use of Cahoba, a powerful hallucinogenic snuff, which was taken by the Behiks, priests or shamans, and caciques to commune directly with the spirits, seeking guidance for the community. Innovators of daily life. Their innovations still echo in our modern language and leisure. The English words hurricane, canoe, hammock, and barbecue are all derived from Arawak Taino language. The catastrophe, millions disappeared in decades. The arrival of the Europeans marked the most rapid and devastating demographic collapse in human history. How did millions vanish so quickly? The plague of New World, genocide. The single greatest killer was not warfare, but the introduction of old-world diseases like smallpox, measles, and influenza, against which the Arawak had no natural immunity. Within decades, estimates show the Taino population on Hispaniola plummeting from possibly 1 million or more to mere tens of thousands. The brutality of the encomienda system. The Spanish conquest was a system of forced labor. Under the encomienda system, native people were forcibly removed from their communities and compelled to work in the brutal gold mines and plantations. Historical accounts, such as those of the priest Bartolomé de las Casas, paint a horrifying portrait of Spanish violence, abuse, and starvation as primary drivers of their demise, alongside disease. Faced with this loss of land and liberty, some Arawak mothers reportedly killed their own children rather than see them grow up enslaved. The ancestral spirit that whispers still. The colonial narrative was designed to declare the Arawak Taino extinct, a clean, tragic end that justified colonization. But the truth is one of resilience, survival, and resurgence. While their organized political kingdoms crumbled, their people endured. Genetic and cultural endurance. Modern DNA studies show that a significant percentage of people in islands like Puerto Rico, Cuba, and the Dominican Republic carry indigenous mitochondrial DNA, the unbroken maternal line of the Taino people. The modern resurgence. Today, there is a powerful cultural resurgence. Descendant groups are actively reclaiming their Taino and Locano identity, heritage, and language. This is not a revival of a lost people, but a proud affirmation that they never truly vanished. Today, we journey beyond the outdated myths of savagery and civilization. We look past the colonial lie of total extinction and step into the living memory of a people whose spirit, culture, and very DNA still shape the vibrant lands of the Caribbean and South America. The simplistic narrative of a few primitive tribes gives way to the reality of a flourishing golden age in the Caribbean, a civilization of remarkable complexity and peace. The Arawak-speaking people, particularly the Taino of the Greater Antilles, weren't just farmers. They were a complete society built on principles of harmony, stewardship, and spiritual connection. The architectural genius of the land, the Conuco system. Their agricultural system was a masterpiece of ecological engineering that sustained millions. The living mound. Their staple crop was cassava, yucca, and they cultivated it primarily through the Conuco system. A Conuco was a large, carefully constructed knee-high mound of earth packed with organic material and ash. It was more than a planter, it was an integrated ecosystem. A sanctuary for fertility, this brilliant method prevented soil erosion, retained moisture, and enriched the ground for continuous multi-year harvesting without the need for constant tilling. Crucially, the Taino did not monocrop, plant a single crop. They cultivated a variety of plants together, ensuring soil health, natural pest control, and a guaranteed food source. The Spanish, bringing their single-crop European farming methods, were completely mystified by and even frightened of the efficiency of the Taino gardens, and their own crops often failed catastrophically as a result. A spiritual connection. The Conocos were seen as living spirits, connected to the Earth Mother deity, Atabe. Their farming was a sacred practice, done in harmony with ancestral laws and natural cycles, ensuring that they worked efficiently and had an abundance of time for intellectual and ceremonial pursuits. Celestial wisdom and cosmic order. The Taino navigated their lives, ceremonies, and planting cycles not just by the sun, but by a precise understanding of the cosmos. Astronomers of the Antilles. Evidence from ceremonial sites like Caguana in Puerto Rico and Greencastle Hill in Antigua suggests the use of megalithic stone arrangements as astronomical calendars. These were sophisticated tools to track the movement of stars and the sun. The Pleiades and the calendar. The celestial cluster known as the Pleiades, the Seven Sisters, was of paramount importance. Its heliacal rising, when it appears just before sunrise, in May, signaled the start of the heavy rainy season and initiated a long series of agricultural and ritual ceremonies, including a ceremonial Pleiades dance. The power of the Bati. Their villages, or Yucayeques, featured large central plazas called Bati, also the name of their ceremonial ball game. These plazas were not only used for the ball game, which sometimes resolved conflicts between communities, but were also believed to be intentionally aligned to mark significant solar and stellar events, connecting the earthly community directly to the cosmic order of the Zemi. Art, storytelling, and spiritual artifacts, the creativity of the Taino flourished, leaving behind a profound artistic legacy that tells their story. Carved objects of power, their spiritual leaders and caciques used Zemi, powerful, intricately carved stone, wood, or ceramic sculptures that represented gods, ancestors, or natural spirits. These ranged from small personal amulets to large ritual figures. Duhos and rituals. The caciques would sit on beautifully carved wooden ritual seats called duhos during ceremonies, signifying their high status and spiritual authority as they communicated with the spirit world using the Cahoba ceremony. The living history. History was not written on paper, but preserved in the Areto, an all-encompassing ceremony of song, dance, and dramatic storytelling where the great deeds of ancestors, the laws of the land, and the myths of creation were passed down from generation to generation. This communal memory was the bedrock of their civilization. The Arawak Taino were a civilization in their own right, a testament to what a society can achieve when it is rooted in deep ecological and spiritual knowledge. You can learn more about how the Taino calendar was influenced by the cosmos by watching this video. Let's talk Taino calendar. The arrival of Columbus in 1492 was not an encounter, but a collision that shattered a civilization. The ships brought not just foreign bodies and weapons, but a toxic ideology, which we must dissect here. The deliberate weaponization of the cannibal lie. The mechanics of colonial justification, God, gold, and the lie. The Spanish arrived driven by a threefold purpose: God, conversion; gold, extraction; and glory, conquest. To brutally subdue a population of millions, they needed a narrative that absolved them of moral responsibility. The propaganda term, Carib versus Taino. Early Spanish accounts quickly divided the indigenous people of the Antilles into two groups: the Taino, or Arawak, who were initially described as docile and easily enslaved, and the Caribs, or Kalinago, who were labeled as fierce, aggressive, and crucially, cannibals. This distinction served a chilling, pragmatic purpose: the cannibal loophole. The word cannibal itself is derived from the Taino word for the Carib people, Caniba. By declaring any group resistant to Spanish rule as cannibal, the colonizers activated a loophole in Spanish law. Queen Isabella's decrees had stated that indigenous people could not be enslaved unless they were cannibals or hostile to Christianity. The moral alibi. This label was the ultimate moral justification. It transformed the act of conquest, mass murder, and enslavement from a crime into a mission of salvation. The Spanish were no longer committing atrocities. They were civilizing savages, protecting themselves, and saving souls. This narrative was meticulously crafted to be broadcast back to the crown and to the Christian world, stripping the victims of their humanity before they were stripped of their lives. The logic of the lie. The maths don't add up. The very nature of the Taino civilization completely exposes the colonial lie of savagery, intricate society versus savagery. As we discussed, the Taino were architects of the Conuco agricultural system, astronomers who tracked the Pleiades to guide their seasons, and artisans who crafted powerful Zemi sculptures. Savages do not build complex, densely populated, well-fed societies guided by hereditary leaders, caciques, and a nuanced spiritual calendar. A people of peace, Columbus himself noted the Taino's gentle nature. Their societal structure was so balanced and their agricultural system so efficient, producing an excess of food with minimal labor, that they had a high degree of leisure time. This free time was dedicated to elaborate communal Areto ceremonies, ball games, baiti, and artistic expression, not constant warfare and cannibalism. The real killer was civilization. The starkest contradiction lies in the demographic catastrophe. If the Arawak Taino were truly a fierce, aggressive people, they would have mounted a sustained, effective resistance. Instead, they were decimated in mere decades. The millions who died succumbed primarily to epidemic smallpox, measles from the European ships, forced labor and starvation under the encomienda system, systematic violence and massacres ordered by the European invaders. The supposed savages were killed not by other savages, but by a technologically advanced, weaponized colonial system, using the lie of cannibalism to absolve its conscience and justify its theft of gold and land. The true savagery was the calculated destruction of the Taino way of life. The gold, the sword, and the witness. This section is the darkest chapter, the one intentionally whitewashed from public memory. What occurred on Hispaniola, the island now shared by Haiti and the Dominican Republic, in the immediate decades after 1492, was not a mere tragedy. It was a calculated act of genocide propelled by greed and executed through a system of terror. The timeline of annihilation, a demographic black hole. The figures are horrifying and underscore the term annihilation. Pre-contact, 1492. Estimates for the Taino population on Hispaniola range from several 100,000 to over 1 million, with some scholars even suggesting a multi-million population sustained by the Conuco system. 11 years later, trapped in 1503, your number is sobering. The population plummeted to fewer than 100,000. 20 years later, centuries 1512 to 1514, Spanish census data suggests the number was reduced further to as low as 32,000. By 1550, the Taino were officially and falsely declared extinct by the colonial authorities, having lost 80% to 90% of their original population in less than 3 decades. This catastrophic collapse goes far beyond the effects of disease alone. The mechanism of destruction, forced labor and systemic cruelty. The key mechanism of this rapid depopulation was the encomienda system, which effectively legalized the slavery of the indigenous people. The Gold Mandate. Under this system, Spanish settlers, encomenderos, were granted vast tracts of land and given control over the indigenous people residing there. The men were forced into the newly opened gold mines, compelled to work relentlessly for a relentless Spanish demand. Historians now argue that the lethal forced labor in these mines killed an estimated 1/3 of the indigenous workforce every 6 months. The weaponization of hunger. With the men in the mines, the efficient, communal-based Conuco agriculture, which was largely managed by women, collapsed. The Spanish, unable to grow their own European crops in the tropical soil and unwilling to adapt to the Taino methods, demanded the remaining meager food supply, leading to mass starvation among the natives. Hunger was systematically used as a weapon to break the spirit in the body. The abuse of women and family rupture. Women, as you note, were subjected to horrific sexual violence and forced to become domestic servants for the Spanish, completely dismantling the traditional, often matrilineal Taino family structure. The despair was so profound that chronicles record indigenous men and women committing suicide, and mothers sometimes chose to kill their infants rather than watch them grow up into a life of enslavement. The witness, Bartolomé de las Casas. The most damning evidence of this annihilation comes from a source within the Spanish system itself. Bartolomé de las Casas. Initially an encomendero who owned Taino slaves, he experienced a moral conversion and became the ultimate defender of the indigenous people. A horrifying portrait in his 1542 work, A Short Account of the Destruction of the Indies, Las Casas provided a shocking first-hand chronicle of the atrocities committed by the Spanish. He wrote to the King of Spain to awaken his conscience, detailing massacres, torture, and the systemic destruction of entire chiefdoms. The Massacre of Jaragua. He recorded events like the Jaragua Massacre, 1503, where hundreds of Taino nobility, including the beloved Queen Anacaona, were gathered under the pretense of a feast only to be ambushed. The caciques were captured and horrifically burned alive, and their people slaughtered. The destruction of the Arawak Taino was a deliberate act of cultural and physical genocide, fueled by an insatiable hunger for gold and justified by the colonial lie that the victims were less than human. Recognizing this truth is the first step in restoring the honor and memory of a magnificent civilization.